We are. So hello everyone, I'm Stuart Fischman. This is the Web Yeshiva, and this is our first shiur on the halachot of Kiddush. And we all say Kiddush. We say it every Friday night. We say it Shabbat morning, Chagim. And there's a lot to Kiddush that we could talk about. And we could explain what we say, why we say, what's the text of Kiddush. And I think to show how much meaning there is to Kiddush, I want to show you a little comment. I'll share a little comment Rabbi Yaakov Emden makes in his Siddur. Rabbi Yaakov Emden was one of the great Gedolim in the 18th century. He was the son of Chacham Tzvi. Historically, he's most well known for his tireless pursuit of Sabbateans. He was always looking for people who maintained loyalty to Shabtai Tzvi, the false Messiah. Ultimately, this led to a very, very bitter dispute with Rav Yonasan Eibshitz, who's also one of the great Gedolim of the time. Rav Yonasan Eibshitz was accused by Rav Yaakov Emden of having Sabbatean proclivities, and it tore apart European Jewry. So he was a great gadol of Yaakov Emden. He wrote Chuvos, prolific writer. He wrote a parish to the Siddur. And I want to share with you what he says about Kiddush. And it'll show us something, like how important Kiddush is. And this is what he writes. Yechavin ma'od Kiddush halayla. We have to have great kavana when we say Kiddush on Friday night. The Yaharher b'tshuva. Before we say Kiddush, we have to do tshuva, which is remarkable. Before we say Kiddush, we have to do tshuva. Why? Kiddush has two parts. We're going to look at the text of the Kiddush. We say a paragraph from Parshas Bereishis Vaychulu, that Hashem finished the creation. Okay? And we say that we're witnesses. We're testifying to this. That's why many people have the custom of standing for Kiddush, because when witnesses appear in court, they stand. For Rasha Pasula Eidos, if I don't think about doing tshuva, I'm a Rasha. And we all know that a Rasha, an evil person, is Pasula Eidos. So before I testify that Hashem is the creator, I have to establish my legitimacy as a witness. That means I have to do tshuva. This is a halacha that appears in Hilchot Gittin. And Ibn Ezra and Shulchan Aruch, which tells us the procedures for writing a get. There's a sort of summary siman. It's called Seder HaGet. Seder HaGet says that the witnesses have to maharher b'tshuva, because the witness is puzzle, a Rasha is puzzle edus. We don't want the get chalul to be puzzle, because then if the get's puzzle, it's basically the woman is not divorced and she's an adulteress. So Seder HaGet says that they have to maharher b'tshuva. Malcolm says we all, besides, it's good to do tshuva. When we're about to say Kiddush, we're testifying. We have to do tshuva to be worthy to testify. And when we say Kiddush, we have to say it with awe, because when we think about the text, we're saying God is the creator. We say it ba'ava. We have to have a love for Hashem. And finally, Simcha Rabbah. We should be joyous that we are the ones who Hashem chose to be His people and bear witness to His creation. And that's the significance of Kiddush. Kiddush is a very, very significant mitzvah. And this idea, there's just these two lines in Rav Yaakov Emden's Siddur show us how much how we need to pay attention to this mitzvah. I know, I come home from shul and I'm hungry and I smell the soup, I smell the kugel, I smell the chicken. Kiddush is basically what I say so I can sit down and eat. But it shouldn't be that way. Kiddush is incredibly important, and we need to pay attention to Kiddush when we say it. So what Kiddush is a mitzvah. How do we know it's a mitzvah? What's the source of the mitzvah? So Kiddush literally means to sanctify. Now, are we sanctifying Shabbos? The answer really is no. We are not sanctifying Shabbos because Baruch Hu sanctified Shabbos. This is what it says in the Parsha of Vaychulu. This is what we say prior to the bracha. And Hashem completed the heavens and the earth and everything upon them. And Hashem finished on the seventh day his work that he did, and he rested on the seventh day from all that work that he did. Hashem blessed the seventh day, and he sanctified it. And he sanctified it. He sanctified Shabbos. Because on that day he rested from all that he created. And the idea that Hashem is the one who sanctified Shabbos is borne out, where's my page here? In the Gemara, when we say Kiddush, where's Rabbi Yaakov Amden? Let's look at the text of the Shabbos Kiddush. Oh, you have it here also. Fine. The text of the Shabbos Kiddush is Baruch Atah Hashem Mekadesh Shabbat. We bless you, blessed are you Hashem, who has sanctified Shabbos. As we all know, on Yom Tov, the ending of the Kiddush is Baruch Hashem Mekadesh Yisrael V'Hazmanim, and the Gemara clarifies this point for us. Here it is. Now I can open it. Here we are. When the Gemara Brachos talks about what we say on Yom Tov, no. Here we are. On Yom Tov, we end the Brachos Mekadesh Yisrael v'Hasmanim Yisrael dekachu l'zmanim. Hashem sanctified us, and we in turn determine the calendar, which determines when the Yom Tovim are. And Rashi explains this. Mekadesh Shabbat Yisrael v'Hasmanim. When Shabbos is on Yom Tov, we say Mekadesh HaShabbat Yisrael v'Hasmanim. We can't say Mekadesh Yisrael Shabbos Uzmanim. The Ilu Uzmanim Tfuyim Bebeis and Kadesh Chadashim Al Piriyah. The Yom Tovim are dates on the calendar. It's Beis Din that determines the calendar, or the calendar that we use, which was determined by Hillel, the last Nasi Hillel, sometime in the 4th century. But we determine the calendar. And Baruch Hu Kiviyachol determines Yom Tovim based on our determination of Yom of the months. Well, Shabbos Kadisha V'Kaima, but Shabbos is already holy. So when we say Kiddush on Yom Tov, we could say yes, we are the ones who sanctify Yom Tov, because Baruch Hu is the one who sanctified Shabbos. That's why the bracha of Kiddush of Shabbos ends with the words Mekadesh Shabbat, and not Mekadesh Yisrael v'Hashabbat. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu sanctified Shabbos. Again, Baruch Atah Hashem Mekadesh Shabbat. Blessed be Hashem who has sanctified Shabbos. So what's Kiddush? Where does it come from? If we're not sanctifying it. So we go back to the Chumash. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu sanctified Shabbos. Hashem sanctified Shabbos. The Radak explains, HaKadosh Baruch Hu knew that he would have a certain chosen people. Turns out it's us. We're the descendants of Avraham Avinu who discovered Hashem. When Hashem sanctified the Shabbos, he knew that his chosen people will rest on that day. And Shabbos is the sign, it's the covenant between us and God, because we are holy. The Shabbos, we don't sanctify Shabbos. Shabbos sanctifies us. Ki kedoshim b'shem kedoshim b'shamam es Shabbos. We are sanctified by the fact that we observe Shabbos. Ki she'edus l'chidush ha'olam. Because by resting on Shabbos, we demonstrate that we believe that there is a God who created the world and who rested on the seventh day of the creation. And we declare to everyone the world is not eternal. It's not pre-existing. It's not what the astronomers call static cosmos. The cosmos was created. It was created by a God. And this God created the world in 6 days. So this sanctifies us. Yes, it's called Kiddush, but we're not sanctifying Shabbos. We are declaring that Shabbos is the day in which the Creator rested. And if you want to say that Kiddush comes from sanctification, it's not that we sanctify Shabbos. It's like the Radak says, Shabbos is sanctifying us. We are holy because we observe Shabbos. So, how do we know there's a mitzvah to say Kiddush? It's in the Mechilta, which is the Medrash Halacha, and it's also in the Gemara, which we're going to see. So in the Seres Dibros and Shmos, Zachas Yom Shabbat Lakadsho. Remember the Sabbath day and sanctify it. We sanctify Shabbos by observing it. Just like Hashem worked on 6 days, he rested on the 7th day. We also work on 6 days. Just like Hashem sanctified the Shabbos when he rested, we too observe the Shabbos by resting. This is also called an act of sanctification, and it makes us holy. The Mechilta are the drashos on the psukim from Chazal. This is what Chazal darshan on Zachor. What does it mean, remember the Shabbos? Zachor or Shamor? Shamor is in the second dibros in Veschana. So we have a whole list of things that we can do. A. Remember it before it starts, and observe it after it ends, because again, Shabbos is really determined by the astronomical events of the sun coming down Friday afternoon and the stars coming out Saturday night. However, we're Mosif Mechol HaKodesh. We're Mosif Mechol HaKodesh. We're Mekabel Shabbos early. That's one way of remembering it. Another drasha. Remember the Shabbos to keep it holy. Start thinking about it on Sunday. Always keep Shabbos in mind. When you see something nice in the store, say, I want that for Shabbos. That's another way to keep Shabbos in mind. Rabbi Yitzchak Omer, Lo tehei, Mona Kedach Shachim, Monu Yom Shabbos. Don't count the days the way the Gentiles count their days, either Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, or whatever culture Rabbi Yitzchak was referring to. Rather, we say Yom Echad Shabbos, Sheni b'Shabbos, Shlishi b'Shabbos. In other words, when we count days of the week, say this is the first day after Shabbos, the second day after Shabbos, etc., etc. Finally, L'Kaddisho, sanctify the Shabbos, L'Kadsho b'Vracha. Okay? And that's what we're going to talk about, the text of the Kiddush. The Mechilta, as a rule, gives drashos of the Tanaim. Wait, what happened here? Here, well, that's better. Excuse me for a second. This thing is very sensitive to the mouse. Okay. Normally, when we see a drasha in the Mechilta, we say it's a drasha d'oraisa, because these are the midrashei halacha. Sometimes, when we're going to come back and see what l'katsho b'bracha, but the brisa in this Mechilta says we have to say Kiddush, we have to say a bracha. I'm going to see if the Rambam agrees with this, but we have to say a bracha. And from there we learn that we say Kiddush with a cup of wine when Shabbos starts. And the Kiddush Yom, Kiddush Layla Minayin, Shmatim es Shabbos. And the Shabbos Yom Tov Minayin, Elam Odei Hashem. Okay, so that's Shabbos. We have to say a bracha. What do we say when we say this bracha? We'll see. Now, we have to know this one more thing. Kiddush or Shabbos in the first Zeres Dibros was given to us, as Hashem says, that we should testify or observe or note that just like Hashem worked for 6 days and rested on the seventh day, we also work 6 days and rest on the seventh day, just like Hashem did. The Dibros in Parshas V'eschanan have a different rationale for Shabbos. Shamas Yom HaShavos L'Kadsho Kasher Tzivcha Hashem Alkecha V'Zacharta Ki Eved HaYisab Eretz Mitzrayim. Shabbos is a commemoration of Yetzias Mitzrayim. Yotzecha Hashem Alkecha Misham Yotach L'Zagav V'Zon Tzivcha Hashem Alkecha Sos Yom HaShabbos. That's why Hashem told us to keep Shabbos. According to the first Dibros, it's to testify that Hashem created the world. The second Dibros is to commemorate Yetzias Mitzrayim. Okay, and we're going to see how this all works in to the text of Kiddush. According to the Mechilta, I get the impression that would be the way we say in Shir Shal Yom. Yeah, when we say Shir Shal Yom, it's Echa b'Shabbos, Shein l'Shabbos, Shlishi Shabbos, Tzvi b'Shabbos, Chamishi b'Shabbos, Shishi b'Shabbos. Okay, Gary? I think it's like Shir Shal Yom. Okay, so let's go on. Okay, so this is basically the Mechilta. The Mechilta is the oldest text we have. It's older than the Gemara. You have to mention Shab. We have to say Kiddush. It's also a Gemara in Psachim, in Arvei Psachim. Okay, Tanu Rabban and Zochas Emashavos Kacho Zochrei Al Yayin. Okay, so it says. The drasha here doesn't say anything about sheshes yimei breishis, but does mention the cup, the wine. All right, you have to say Kiddush, and you have to have a cup of wine when you say Kiddush. So the brisa goes on. It says it's Yom HaShabbos, and the yellow biyom. Okay, maybe this means Shabbos morning. Laila b'nayin. How I know I say Kiddush Friday night? B'laila. Minayin. Okay. Adarabah, Ikka Kedusha B'layla, who Kaddish. Kaddish Tzilkim Abayla Kedushi. And then the Gemara says, no, this price isn't really clear. If I'm going to sanctify Shabbos, when should I sanctify it? I should sanctify it when it starts. It's Friday night, not Shabbos morning. That's more important. Okay? That's an interesting question, Tila, and that is the essence of what we're going to talk about today. What do we need to say to Mekadesh Shabbos? Now, as Tila says, when women light candles, they're saying, Ladik ner shel Shabbat. So they're saying something which says that today, now it's Shabbos. Is that enough? Is that is there a bare minimum? There must be a bare minimum. Is that the bare minimum? Okay, and that's a very good point. So just hold on to that idea. So Raz Gemara says after Mekadesh Shabbos. So why do I have to say when I'm Mekadesh Shabbos? So we're going to look at the Rambam now. Okay? Hold on just a second. Okay. So we started Gemara. The Gemara talks about saying it and having wine. Now how does the Rambam explain the mitzvah? Let's look at the Rambam. Here we are. Mitzvah's essay mina Torah l'kadesh es yom Shabbos b'dvarim. There's a mitzvah d'oraisa to sanctify the Sabbath day with words. Shene'amar zochas yom Shabbos l'kadsho. Kama zachreo zechiras shevach v'kiddush. The mitzvah d'oraisa is to say something about Shabbos that praises it and expresses its sanctity. And there's a mitzvah to remember Shabbos and when it enters and when it departs. That's Kiddush and Avdallah. If Avdallah is also mitzvah d'oraisa, some Rishonim disagree with the Rambam. But the Rambam seems to say it's both. Okay? But to answer your question, Zilea, this is the beginning of an answer. I have to say words of Shvach and Kiddush. So I would say the bracha that a woman says when she lights candles is a shekit sham mitzav tzavanu ladlik ner shel Shabbat. Is that enough praise? We're going to see what the poskim say. But it's a good question. You can answer that yourself. There's Kiddush, because you mentioned Kichan Miksosav, and you mentioned Shabbos in connection with mitzvos, which implies that Shabbos has a certain holiness. But I don't know if the Shvach is there. I don't know if there's any praise built into the text of the bracha of Hadlakas Neiros. And you can answer whatever you like. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. But that's what you have to think about if you're going to say that women are yotze the mitzvah Kiddush by lighting candles. It's conceivable that when we get to Rabbi Kiva Eger, it's conceivable. But Chazal gave us a nusach. The Gemara says Anshe Knesset Agdola wrote the brachos for us, and this is what they wrote according to the Rambam. You sanctified us with your mitzvos and desired us. B'Shabbos Kodesh ba'avar v'atzonin chilanu. Now there you have Kiddush and Shvach. We say the Shabbos is holy, okay, and it was given to us as a sign of love and desire. So there you have Shvach, and there you have Kiddush. So this text of Anshe Knesset Agdola meets the requirements that Rambam says are the minimum midiraisa of Kiddush and Shvach. Here I have the two dibros. I have the first dibros, which say Zeichel Masei Breishis, and then he also mentions the second dibros, which is Zeichel Tzias Mitzrayim. Both Hashem says both reasons in both dibros, and they're both mentioned in Kiddush. Again, he closes it. Brachos are chasima me'ena psicha. They end on the same theme which they open. Again, Shabbos as an aspect of holiness. Shabbos as an aspect of Hashem's love for us. That's the Shvach. That's the Kiddush. B'ochat Hashem Kadesh Shabbos. Okay? So you would get the impression from the Rambam that Hadlakas Neiros doesn't really have enough content to say that one has fulfilled the mitzvah of Kiddush. Now just pay attention to one more thing. This is Kiddush for the Rambam. He doesn't say Vaychulu. Where does Vaychulu come from? Okay? That's another thing we need to see. Our Kiddush contains Vaychulu. The Gemara, just have one more Gemara, which we're going to have to see. This is what the Gemara says about Kiddush on Shabbos. Amar Abacha bar Yaakov Tzedek Yaski Yitzias time b'Kiddush Hayom. Even though the Kiddush is about Shabbos, we have to mention Yitzias Mitzrayim. He has a Gzera Shava of Zachor, not because it's in the second Dibros, but because whenever we remember, we have to remember Yitzias Mitzrayim. And this is what the Rashbam says. This goes for Kiddush, and it also goes for davening. According to the Rashbam, the Shabbos davening has to mention Yitzias Mitzrayim. I didn't put up pages from the Siddur, but you can all look at your Siddurim if you have them at hand. And our Shabbos Shmona Esrei, we don't say Zechel Yitzias Mitzrayim. We don't hold like this Rashbam. Why not is a very good question, which we'll get to, I hope. We mentioned it in Kiddush, because he says, Yaski says from the Kiddush Hayom. Now, Kiddush Hayom, we say, as we understand the term, Kiddush Hayom is Kiddush, what we say before the meals. But for the Rashbam and some other Rishonim, Kiddush Hayom is whenever we say Mekadesh Shabbos. We say Mekadesh Shabbos Friday night before the meals. We also say Mekadesh Shabbos in all the davening. And in Ma'ariv, Mincha, and Shacharis, there's really no mention of Yitzias Mitzrayim. And why not is a good question. Okay? So that's where we are. There's a mitzvah deraisa to say Kiddush. In other words, the Rambam says there's a mitzvah deraisa on Friday night to say something about the holiness and the praises of Shabbos. And Anshe Knesset Gedolah gave us a text in which we get these ideas across. The Gemara on Kufi Yitzayim with Beis adds, you have to mention Yitzias Mitzrayim. We mention that in our Kiddush. We do not mention that in our Shmona Esreis. That's what we're up to so far. Any questions? No questions. Okay. So now we can go get stumped. Okay? We saw what the Rambam says. Okay. Now we're going to hit a very puzzling halacha and Shulchan Aruch, and the Magen Avram specifically. All right, this is Shulchan Aruch in a Kiddush al Hayayin. Okay. Listen, don't hang around. You come home from shul, make Kiddush, eat. Secondly, as a rule, women are not obligated to fulfill the mitzvahs Esei Shazman Gram, the time-dependent mitzvahs. Right now, there's Sfiras HaOmer. Women, at least women I know, they count Sfiras, but they don't have to, because it's a time-dependent mitzvah. Kiddush is a time-dependent mitzvah. It's only Friday nights. The women have to say Kiddush anyway. Why? Mishum de Iskish Zacha l'Shamor. Shabbos has a mitzvah of Zachor and his mitzvah of Shamor. Shamor means observe Shabbos, don't do malacha. Women can't do malacha on Shabbos. Whoever is forbidden from doing malacha is obligated to do say Kiddush. Women can't do malacha. It means women must say Kaddish, must say Kiddush. And a woman can say Kiddush for a man because they have an equal obligation. There's a general rule to be motzi, someone in a mitzvah, you have to be obligated. So, for example, if I don't know how to count Sfiras HaOmer, for some reason, my wife does know how to count Sfiras HaOmer, I am not yotze when I listen to her count Sfiras HaOmer. Because her chiyuv is D'Rabbanan, my chiyuv is D'Oraisa. When it comes to Kiddush, we're equivalent. So if my wife wants, she can motzi me for Kiddush. Now we have to look at the Magen Avram. Magen Avram is one of the significant commentators to Shulchan Aruch. And this will get back to Tilo Leah. The idea of eating Shabbos, so I can say Kiddush when Shabbos begins. Now there's an interesting idea which maybe we'll talk about another time. Shabbos, there's in the mystical works. Shekadosh Kodem Halayla. Say Kiddush before it gets dark. Why? Friday night, Friday evenings in the astrological charts, Mars is dominant. Sof Yom Shishi Hu Mazal Tzedek. On the other hand, at the Friday afternoon, Jupiter is the ascendant one. You should say Kiddush when there's Jupiter and not Mars. I'm not a Makubal. I can't understand these things. I can't explain why I don't understand. In concept of Chuvas Maril, Simukuf Samachgil, I think that's the Ramami Pano, the Chuva Kasvashim Enu Tevla Choyachalamtin Shkozachas Abakinas Obagay Saknes Lainsham. If you're not hungry, late Friday afternoon, since you're already daven, which is important, you're Yotze. Bishami Veshbrachos Dercha Chosha Beis B'Layim V'Kol Barashi Tafkil Kasamam Kiddushim Derais B'Lo Yaim Aventik Lo Yaim. Because of Tosfos. Venerally. The Kiddush Sha'amar B'Tfilos Sagi. The Kraksiv Zachas and Shabbos V'Zachos. So, all you need for Kiddush is what you said Friday night in Shemona Esrei. Now, on Friday night Shemona Esrei, what do we have? We have the praise of Shabbos, and we have the Kaddish of Shabbos. What we don't have is any mention of Yetzias Mitzrayim. This is what puzzles many, many poskim. How can I be Yotzei Kiddush with davening? I didn't mention Yetzias Mitzrayim at all. And the Gemara we saw says in Daf Kuf Yudam Beis that you do have to mention Yetzias Mitzrayim. And when Tilo Leah asks, don't I Yotzei Kiddush when I light candles? Certainly you're not mentioning Yetzias Mitzrayim, so according to the Gemara Kuf Yudam Beis, you're not Yotzei. But how can the Magen Avram say you're Yotzei with Shmona with your davening? When you daven, you also don't mention Shmona Es. You don't mention Yetzias Mitzrayim. Yes, so stopping all work is Shabbos related, but you have to say something. Now you said Ner Shel Shabbat. You mentioned Shabbos, but you didn't praise it, and you certainly didn't mention Yetzias Mitzrayim. You're right. We'll get to that next week, Ms. Schutz, but the answer is no. Not everybody has to drink the wine. Only one person has to drink the wine. Okay? Slaves don't get to stop all work is absolutely true. And Hashem freed us from slavery. We're supposed to mention Yetzias Mitzrayim and Kiddush according to the Gemara on Kuf Yud Zayin, but we're not mentioning it in Shemona Esrei. So how can you be Yotzei Kiddush in the Shabbos Amida prayer? Now Kiddush B'Rokum Suda D'Rabban Tiknuhu. Now, there's a part of the mitzvah of Kiddush that we make Kiddush at the place where we're eating. So you might say, I'm not davening where I eat, but that's only D'Rabbanan. According to Magen Avram, you Yotzei Kiddush with Amida prayer of Friday night. Okay? Now, Rabbi Kiva Eger goes on. He takes this idea even further. Okay? Lanier staiti near Muchach came. Imad Makachim Yom Kippur Mitzchal b'Shabbos L'Teistei Kiddush. The Shabbos Deraisa. Yom Kippur falls on a Friday night. It's still Shabbos. How are we Yotzei Kiddush on Friday night of Yom Kippur? There's no wine, right? So it must be that we don't eat it all on Yom Kippur. So it must be that we're Yotzei with the Amida prayer. And that, he says, is the big proof for the Magen Avram. And what this does with the Gemara Kuf Yud Zayin Beis is a huge puzzle. Okay? But what about Yom Kippur Friday night? Is there wine? No. It must be. You don't have to say Kiddush over a cup of wine midiraisa, because Kiddush is a daraisa even on Yom Kippur for Shabbos. So how am I Yotzei? So it must be the Yotzei with your tefillos. Well, but I still puzzled because the Rosh says that the idea of Kiddush b'makom suda is a deraisa din. Because they had the custom of saying Kiddush in shul, which is a custom that some people still maintain from Europe. Most shuls don't. And the Gemara asks, why are we saying Kiddush in shul? So, and the answer is because we say it for travelers or wayfarers. So Amakachman says it's deraisa. But Einyan deraisa bar yatsu b'tefila. But you can ask why they need they were Yotzei Kiddush in their davening. So it must be that you have to say Kiddush where you eat. This goes back to Tefillah Leah. As far as Rabbi Akiva Eiger is concerned, to be Yotzei the deraisa of Kiddush, all you have to do is say Good Shabbos. You say Good Shabbos, you Yotzei the mitzvah deraisa. You said it's Shabbos. So according to Rabbi Akiva Eiger, Tehillah Leah's point is well taken, and it could be that women are Yotzei the mitzvah deraisa when they light candles, because as they said, Adlik Ner Shel Shabbat. And so I would presumably saying Adlik Ner Shel Shabbat is not any less substantial than saying Good Shabbos. The Mikam Hizkir Shabbos. That's all you need to do. Akiva Eiger takes the idea of the Magen Avram and says, Midaraisa, that's all you need. Now, what about mentioning Yetzias Mitzrayim? What about the Shvach? That's all you would say in Asmachta or D'Rabbanan. But the nucleus of Kiddush is simply to say it's Shabbos, according to the Magen Avram, not according to other poskim. But that's what he holds, and that's what Rabbi Akiva Eiger holds. Any questions? Okay. So, not everybody is happy with the psak of the Magen Avram. And just to show you, where did it go? Okay, let's do the Sefer Chinuch. Okay. Where's my Sefer Chinuch? Sefer Chinuch explains the mitzvahs. Okay, mitzvahs Kiddush Shabbos b'dvarim. We should say words about Shabbos when it starts and when it exits. The Sefer Chinuch is based on the Rambam. So again, the Rambam mentions you have to mention Shvach. He says Shvach is important. You have to say Shvach. And Shvach is in Shmona Esrei. I don't know if Shvach is in the Brach of Adik Ner Shel Shabbat. I don't know if Shvach is in Good Shabbos, as the Rabbi Akiva Eiger said. But he said that's the mitzvah. We have to mention its holiness and its magnificence. We have to say it with a cup of wine. He goes on. The essence of this mitzvah will bring us to appreciate the greatness of Shabbos. This reinforces our belief in the creation. Okay? And again, that's why we do it with a cup of wine, because it's human nature. Then we have a nice meal, it makes us happy, and that elevates us. And again, our environment shapes our mood. If we're having a nice meal with wine, we're happy. Then we say words and we appreciate what we're saying. That's the essence of Kiddush for the Sefer Chinuch. Okay. All right. Now, the commentary on the Sefer Chinuch is called Minchas Chinuch. And he explores all sorts of ideas in the mitzvah. So I want to find for you this. Here it is. He's bothered by the fact that the Magen Avraham didn't mention, says it Yotzei Shmona Esrei, but there's no Yetzias Mitzrayim. In a Mavur b'Pesachim Kufyitayim with Beis Amar Lotzim and Yaakov Tzarchatzki says from Kiddush Hayom. We have to mention Yetzias Mitzrayim when we say Kiddush. Okay? We have to say this. Upashit Tehu Me'at-Torah. Okay, and Cholek Omer Mezu Pashit Midor Torah. He thinks, the Minchas Chinuch says this is a real drasha minat Torah. No one in the Gemara disagrees with this drasha. And if you don't mention Yetzias Mitzrayim in Kiddush, you simply are not Yotzei. Now, then you have problems. Okay? Now, the Rambam doesn't say it in so many words, but the Rambam's Kiddush mentions Yetzias Mitzrayim. So even the Rambam holds of it. And I don't know why the Sefer Chinuch doesn't mention this fact when he discusses Kiddush. There's a Pashut Beis Nusach Shema Yom Tzachazki Yitzesman. Whatever text you're saying, which expresses the glory of Shabbos, you must mention Yetzias Mitzrayim. So to answer Tilaleh's question, according to the Minchas Chinuch, you're not Yotzei Kiddush when you say the bracha Leilik Ner Shal Shabbat. Balpi de Tama Ma'od. I am amazed, he says. Okay, I am very amazed. On the Achronim and the Magen Avraham, Shekasa B'Tfilah Shabbos Yotzei Kiddush. He says that you Yotzei Kiddush when you daven. But Kiddush, but our Shabbos davening does not mention Yetzias Mitzrayim. So how can you be Yotzei? He says you can't be Yotzei. So he disagrees with the Magen Avraham. He says, Aval b'tfilah shel Shabbos vade ene Yotzei klal dein shem zechel Yetzias Mitzrayim. All right, that's it. So he disagrees with Magen Avraham. He would certainly disagree with Rabbi Akiva, saying good Shabbos is enough. You have to mention Yetzias Mitzrayim, and that's what the Ber Halacha, who tries. Where's my Ber Halacha? Let me open this up. The Ber Halacha, which is the Mishnah Berurah's long notes to Mishnah Berurah, to Shulchan Aruch, he normally supports the Magen Avraham, and he certainly supports Rabbi Akiva Eiger. Here, he has troubles. Okay? He just doesn't know. He says, maybe they hold it to Rabbanan. Ech yotzei de Kiddush b'tfilah. Ech kasav Magen Avraham the yotzei. He doesn't know. How can you be yotzei without mentioning Yetzias Mitzrayim? All right? But unlike the Minchas Chinuch, Magen Avraham says that the Rasha is midrabanan. It's an asmachta. Okay? Maybe. Or you could say something a little more imaginative. Friday night davening, like every week, we say Shema, which mentions Yetzias Mitzrayim. So I did mention Yetzias Mitzrayim Friday night, because we talk about it in the Friday night davening. So even though the Gemara says supposed to say it in Kiddush, maybe by a stretch I can say the fact I mentioned Yetzias Mitzrayim when I davened Ma'ariv, I sort of got it in. Okay, maybe that works. It's a puzzle. They're all puzzled by the Magen Avraham, and he's certainly puzzled by Rabbi Kiva Eger. Easy but Kiddush Rabbi Kiva Eger is stopping away mitzvahs esrei Shabbos tava. Maybe Yotze was good saying good Shabbos. Well, a fella, that's just amazing. Rambam Kiddush. I forget about Yetzias Mitzrayim. I don't even have Shvach and Kiddush. There's nothing about sanctifying Shabbos. There's no praise of Shabbos when I say good Shabbos. So he really doesn't know where Rabbi Kiva Eger is coming from. So basically, we say Kiddush. And here we have Yetzias Mitzrayim, we have Shvach. It's good. Any questions? No questions. Okay. So we have a few more minutes. So let's go back to the Rambam. The Rambam says that B'divrei Sofrim l'kadesh hayayin l'avdil hayayin. Divrei Sofrim is a phrase that the Rambam uses. Sometimes it means deraises, sometimes it means the Rabbanans. It's a hard phrase to nail down. But from the context of this parak, it would seem that it's not deraisa. Because it says the deraisa is mitzvahs esim in a Torah l'kadesh l'shem Shabbos b'dvarim. The deraisa is to say something about Shabbos. And the Divrei Sofrim is to say it when you have a cup of wine in your hands. So the cup of wine is the Rabbanan. Okay? Who might disagree with this? Rashi might disagree with this. There's a Gemara in Nazir, which is a very hard Gemara to get. There are two ways to learn this Gemara. There's Rashi's way, and then there's like everybody else's way. We say it's Rashi because it's on the inside margins, but it's not clear really if this is Rashi. But there is an unambiguous Rashi, so we'll look at that first. Then we'll look at the ambiguous Rashi. So the Gemara says, we know this already, that women have to say Kiddush. Women are chayav min Torah to say Kiddush. The Gemara asks, it's a time-dependent mitzvah. Women are time-dependent mitzvahs. Okay? So, Rashi explains Kiddush. What's Kiddush Hayam? Rashi puts yayin into the drasha. Zachreu al hayayin. And it's expressed more clearly in this Gemara in Nazir. A Nazir can't drink wine, right? How does a Nazir make Kiddush? You can make Kiddush on bread, which we'll get to maybe in a later shiur. But the Gemara talks about wine. Okay, miyayin v'sheicha yazir. Okay, the Nazir can't drink yayin and sheichar, which is like wine and aged wine, whatever sheichar is. By the way, that's a yayin mitzvah. He can't drink yayin mitzvah, ki yayin harashus. Ma'hi kedushta v'avdalta. There you got it. The Nazir cannot drink wine for Kiddush. The Nazir cannot drink wine for Havdalah. All right? And there we see now, is this a Drabanan or is this a Deraisa? So since this is a pasuk, is saying the pasuk of Yain v'Sheichar Yazir is excluding Kiddush, according to Rashi, we'll see on the next stop, this means that wine for Kiddush must be deraisa, because if I need a drasha to tell me no, I don't need a drasha to tell me not to do a mitzvah d'Rabbanan. There's no pasuk in the Torah that talks about I can't pick up about muktzah on Shabbos. If there's a pasuk in the Torah that's talking about the wine of Kiddush, that means the wine of Kiddush must be deraisa. Okay, and this is what the Mefarish says on Daled Amud Aleph. Here it is. Gemara says, "Mushba b'omein love me Har Sinai," but he's obligated from Har Sinai to drink wine. Okay, the Siv Zachas Yamashavas Akadsho Zachrei Hayayin. Okay, ain't no big deal. Because I mean, nine to Mudlomar, Kaman Nishba Avatos Mitzvah Pater. So this is another discussion of is Nazir's Chal on a mitzvah, or is Neder in general and Shvuah in general. If I make a Neder or Shvuah, which would lead to me not being able to do a mitzvah, is the Neder or Shvuah valid? That's a separate discussion if we ever learn Hilchos Nedarim. The main point here is that according to the parish which is attributed to Rashi, the wine of Kiddush is a mitzvah d'oraisa. It's not that there's a mitzvah d'oraisa to say the Kiddush, a mitzvah d'Rabbanan to drink a cup of wine. There's a mitzvah d'oraisa to say Kiddush on Shabbos when I have a cup of wine in my hand I'm about to drink. And that's what the Rashi holds, and we'll see what the Bali Tosfot say, and then we're going to end. It's a big subject. Where did we go? Here we are. Let's scroll up a little. Zachrei Hayayin. That's what the Gemara says, and Rashi says that's it. That's all part of the drasha, not like the Rambam. That there's Zachreihu, and then the Rabbanan there's wine. No, it's a package. Okay. Now, first Tosfos says, "Hai zechira hainu Kiddush." Kiddush is the bracha mekadesh Shabbos. The vaychulu lo maitzinu al kotel b'tfila. The idea of saying vaychulu is part of the Shmona Esrei. Okay, that's not really Kiddush in the strictest and the narrowest sense of the word. The idea that we say vaychulu is a Gemara in Shabbos. And here it is. It's going to scroll down. Boom. Where did you go? Where did you go? Here it is. Amar Rabbi Sim Rabbi Shubin Levi. Afil yachad mispal ber Shabbos tzarich lomar vaychulu. Okay, even if you're davening by yourself, say vaychulu, because basically the Shmona Esrei and the Friday night bracha starts Ata Kidashta. Say vaychulu. And Afilu Yachid is why it says that. There are various opinions. If you could say it by yourself, because again, as we saw by Kiva Egg, by Rav Yaakov Emden, Vaychulu is testimony. And one person can't be a witness. So there's an idea that if you're saying by yourself Vaychulu, try and find someone else to say it with you. But you really have to say it. Okay? Whoever says by Chulu, Kaviyach Hashem's partner in the creation. Okay, Shnema by Chulu, I'll take by Chulu of Vayachlu, that you did it together. Hashem is inviting us in with him to be his partners, Kaviyachal. By Chalu, because Prachul V'zesh Mesab B'Shrach, it's a plural verb. B'Shavach Hashel Shabbos. So you're by saying Hashem's Shavach and praising Shabbos, we're Kaviyachal, exactly Hashem's partners. So that's why we say by Chulu. Vaychulu doesn't really belong to Kiddush. Kiddush is the bracha of Mekadesh Shabbos. We say Vaychulu anyway. We say Vaychulu Friday night Kiddush for people who didn't go to shul. That's how Vaychulu got added on to the Kiddush. And keep in mind again that the Rambam doesn't mention Vaychulu in his text of the Kiddush. So why do we say on Friday night, we say Vaychulu in Shmona Esrei and after Shmona Esrei and the third time at home? So I say it Friday night in the davening because that's what the Gemara says to do. I say it's Friday night Kiddush because maybe people didn't go to shul. So why am I saying it together in shul after Shmona Esrei? So Tosfos says it's for Yantiv. Let's say Shabbos falls in Yantiv, we say the Yantiv Shmona Esrei, and then we're not saying Vaychulu. So we have to say Vaychulu for Shabbos on Yantiv, and once we say it like that, we say it all year long. So Chalik ben Shabbos to Shabbos. Now let's get back to the cup of wine. Near the Kiddush al Yanis Vachti. As far as Tosfos is concerned, not like Rashi, Zachreu al Hayayin is not like a bundled drasha, in the sense that Zachreu means Zachreu al Hayayin. Rather, there's Zachreu. The al Hayayin is D'Rabbanan. Okay, that's their initial opinion. And we say that women are chayiv deraisa to say Kiddush. And that means to say the brachas. Again, this idea of Zachreu al Hayayin, the al Hayayin is a D'Rabbanan. But then Tosfos goes on, they quote the Gemara in Nazir. They don't agree with Rashi's Pshat in Nazir, which I don't want to get into now. But they say, you know what? You know what? Maybe Zachrei al Hayayin is a bundled drasha. It's deraisa. The fact that I have to drink the wine, that's a mitzvah d'Rabbanan. That person who makes Kiddush has to drink it, that's d'Rabbanan. Because they don't like Rashi's Pshat in Nazir that deraisa, you have to drink the wine. And again, their Pshat in Gemara Nazir is not something that we need to discuss today. It has to do with the nature of Nidarim and how they negate mitzvos, which is technical and not our subject. But the main thing is like this. Rashi says there's a mitzvah deraisa to say Kiddush and drink a cup of wine when you make Kiddush. According to the Rambam, there's a mitzvah deraisa to say a bracha, to say praises of Shabbos. We should use the text of Anshe Knesset Gdola, Drabanan. We should drink a cup of wine. According to Rabbi Kiva Eger, it could very well be that when you say Good Shabbos, you yotze the mitzvah deraisa. The Magen Avraham says when we daven Friday night, we yotze the deraisa of Kiddush. Tosfos is inclined to say that the mitzvah is Drabanan to drink the wine. But maybe it's possible to say there's a mitzvah deraisa to say it with a cup of wine, but certainly drinking that cup of wine after I say the bracha, that has to be a Rabbanan. It can't be a deraisa. And that sums it up for today. Any questions? Then you say Kiddush on challah. Okay, Gary? You can say Kiddush on bread. Any other questions? No? Oh, good to see you, Paul. All right, so it's good to see you. Thank you very much. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.